Let's solve problem 4.41. Here we'll draw this thing in a top view and we'll drop these two circles in front. And lastly, we are going to apply the fillet given over here. So start new sketch on top plane. Use the center point slot tool. Now let's add a dimensions. So radius is 22. And this is 20. Now let's make these two circles equal. Now let's extrude mid-plane thickness by 12. Now let's start the circles on a front plane. The outer diameter is 62. Now let's offset inside by 5 mm. Now let's extrude the outer circle and the distance is 80. Let's reuse same sketch, but this time we are going to remove the circle. I mean to say we are going to remove the central part. So let's take mid-plane or through on both sides. Now let's apply fillet. So go to fillet and add the value 2. So on this side again, and click OK. Now let's measure the volume. So volume is 107609, which is correct answer. Now let's solve problem 4.42. We'll draw the sketch in front plane and in extrude it. Then we're going to create this cut and then we'll create a linear pattern. So start new sketch on front plane. Let's draw center line first. Then let's create a shape. Now let's add dimensions. This is 52. From here to here it is diametrically it is 60. This is 18. This is 23. And angle between this and this is 30. Also, this is of 9. Now let's mirror this sketch. Select all geometry, click on mirror and select this line. Now let's extrude. Instead of mid plane, now let's extrude by 135 in one direction. Now let's add a triangular cut at bottom. So let's draw. Now let's make them a perpendicular as given in. Second thing, distance between these two is 28. Let's make one more line over here. Now let's add center line from the mid. Now let's make them symmetric about selected center line. Now let's create extrude cut. Now let's select the feature and click on linear pattern. So we need to provide the directions. So this is our directions, and obviously the instance distance is 20 and total there are 4. Now let's measure the volume. Before that, let's look at that nothing is miss out. So measure the mass property. So it is 359860, which is complete match with the solution answer. Let's solve 4.43. Here, first we are going to draw this. Then with the reference of that extrusion, we are going to drop this rectangle plate, and we'll remove lastly this triangular surface. Along with that, we are going to place these holes to complete the modeling process. So start sketching on front plane. Let's take a center point arc. Let's provide the radius, which is 35. Now let's add the line, which is having a distance of 75, which is also a center distance. So let's make them equal. Now press S key to invoke the extrude command. This time we are going to use thin features, and thickness is 5 mm. And the depth is 55. Now let's draw a back plate. So we'll use rectangle tool. Now let's dimension them. So from here to here it is 27. Similarly, let's drag and create a dimensions. So this is also 27. From the top, it is also 27. Now let's add from here to here, it is 27. Now along with that rectangle, let's draw circles. So in one sketch, we are able to create the geometry. All these 3 circles are equal diameter. So let's make them equal. Now they are located from here, from the bottom edge, it is at 15. From right, it is again 15. Now let's use center line. To make them symmetric. Also, let's say this circle is also coincident. Now let's fix its distance. So from top it is at 15. Now let's extrude. Thickness is on the reverse side 5 mm. Now let's create on a right plane a line starting from here to the top. Now let's fix the location. So from here it is exactly at 14. Now let's invoke the shortcut menu. Make sure in direction 1 through all is used, and look at this small arrow. This small arrow indicate that this material is going to remove. If I use flip side cut, it will remove the opposite material. But this is correct configuration. So let's go ahead and click OK. Now let's measure the volume. So it is 152537, which is correct answer. Let's solve problem 4.44. So in a front plane, we are going to draw this sketch and we'll extrude by this top portion and bottom portion. And finally, we are going to remove this much material from the right plane. So let's start new sketch on front plane. Let's use center line. Let's use a center arc. And with the line, let's draw shape like this. Let's add some few dimensions. So from here to here it is 64. This is of 35, 11. This is 64. And from here to here, it is 18. So now let's mirror this geometry. So select all of these. Click on mirror. Make sure you select the right line. Now let's add circle. Here it is of 13. And here again it's of same diameter. So let's equate them. Now let's add distance between their centers is 30. And also add a radius of 10 at the corner. Now let's extrude. Now before that, let's add one more line to separate the region. So go to sketch and draw this horizontal line. Now let's go to extrude. First I'm going to extrude this region on a reverse direction by 48. Now let's reuse same sketch again and extrude. This time I'm going to use this region, but whose thickness is 11. Now let's draw a semicircular arc. So here, let's start. Now let's provide the radius, which is 12, because diameter is given 24. Now its location from here to here is given as 22. Now let's go and create extrude cut. And make sure it is through all. But here we need to look at this arrow. Let's click the arrow, or you can click over here, flip to cut. So this material get removed. Let's measure the volume. So it is 90831, which is correct answer. Let's try to solve problem 4.45. Now we'll try to draw a rectangle strip starting from this center and which is curved at this corner and extend up to this center. On the top, we are going to draw these two circles with the holes. So start sketching on front plane. So this is overall 85. And from here it is 55. Now let's give the radius of 14. Now let's extrude using thin features, but this time we are going to do the same thing, but inside. Now thickness is 7. And the width is, let's make it mid plane, and width is 21. Now let's draw the circle and hole. So the smaller radius or diameter is 18. Larger is of 40 diameter. Now let's extrude first. So this time I'm going to use this one and make it reverse. And thickness would be up to surface. That means this one, and right click. Now let's expand same sketch and create the extrude cut. This time, this is the circle. Inside circle, we are going to remove the material. Now let's do the same thing for the bottom side. Let's draw two circle of same dimensions, but here diameter is 40. Now let's extrude. Instead, let's select region. We need to reverse it and we need to select up to surface. That is the surface. Now expand same and let's go to create extrude cut. Select this one and through all option. Now let's measure the volume. Here it is 27321, which is not matching with the given answer. So we miss something. So let's inspect. Yes, if you go through the model, then we forget to provide the radii of 5. So let's apply radii. Over here, this one. Now again, let's try to measure the volume. Now it is 27348, which is a complete match with the solution answer. In problem 4.46, we are going to draw this sketch in front plane. We'll also draw this circular arc and this rib type of a construction. And then we are going to extrude as per the given depth. So start new sketch on front plane. Now let's use center point rectangle. Vertical dimension is 51 and horizontal is 105. Now let's drop a fillet at the corner. Let's also draw a circle whose diameter is 20. Now let's draw center point arc. So from here, start and complete over here. Similarly, on an opposite side, we start here and complete over here. Let's make them of equal size. Now let's add the radii is 35. Now let's draw a line. Similarly, from here to here. Now let's make them parallel to each other and also make them equally distributed around the center line. Now typical distance between them is 10. Now let's extrude. Or if you wish, you can remove these additional lines. So let's try to remove them. Now shortcut key S and extrude. Now let's select the outer part. Select this circle. And the depth is as given 12. Now expand the same sketch and this time let's use this region. But here the extrusion depth is given 8 mm, but from the front surface. So we need to change the from conditions. And now the blind depth is 8 mm. So you need to be very careful how to extrude and from which starting or ending condition we need to use for extrusion. So let's measure volume. It is 7715, which is completely matched with the solution answer. In problem 4.47, on top plane we are going to draw this sketch and then we'll extrude the part one by one. But here the hint is given that for this radius, its center is exactly on this R16 radius. It is also aligned with horizontal with the origin and this vertical line. So on a top plane, begin sketching. First, let's draw a circle whose diameter is 25. Another circle whose diameter is 12. And concentric arc from here to here is given, whose radius is 22. Now let's draw a line whose length is 35. This is of 85. Let's now draw the arc, tangent arc. So from here, let's add 3-point arc. Now this is tangent. This is also tangent. Now let's add dimension to this radii, which is of 16. Now from here to here it is given 31. So I need to draw a line over here from here to here. Now let's add, so from here to here and from here and from here to here. Now this should be horizontal. This should be a line and this should be one. Now over here, now let's add one more relation over here of tangency. Now let's add dimension to this radii, which is of 8. Now let's make this and this vertical. Now let's extrude one by one. So first we are going to extrude this one and this center portion. And the depth will be 12. Now let's expand same sketch and extrude this time internal region, which is of 34 on the bottom. Again, let's reuse same sketch and use this region, but the thickness as given is 7. Sorry, that thickness is measured from the top surface. So we need to change the starting locations and it is going to be blind by 7 mm. Now let's measure the volume. So it is 54970, which is completely matched with the solution answer. In problem 4.48, we'll begin preparing the model by drawing the sketch in front. And then we'll extrude by 100. And lastly, we are going to drop these holes. We'll apply this radius in feature, not in sketch. So start new sketch on front plane. Let's draw circle. One more circle of 129 diameter. Let's draw center line having distance 90. Let's draw a line, a midpoint line, whose length is 225. Now here it is of 17. Now let's draw a line from here to here. Now the angle is given 60. Also, same line is offsetted by 17. but on a reverse directions. Now let's remove additional part. Now let's add few more lines. Now dimension of that endpoint is 1110. This line and this circle are tangent to each other. Now let's remove additional part of a geometry. So let's remove this one and also this one and this one. Now let's also draw one more line which meet over here and tangent to the outer surface and parallel to this one. Now let's remove additional stuff. This time I will use as a construction geometry after trimming. Now let's turn off and remove this part. Now let's align these two. Also let's trim these. Now let's make them again. This is the problem. When we trim, so let's make them symmetric about selected center line. Now let's extrude. So here let's choose this region, mid plane, and 100 is the depth. Now let's add fillets. So one is 20 over here. Another fillet is of 12 and over here. Now let's drop the holes. So let's draw midpoint line and convert into construction geometry. And also let's make it length of 180. Now let's drop the circle at its corner. Sorry, its center point. So it is of 20. Now let's draw similar circle over here and select both circles and make them equal. Now shortcut key and extrude cut and click OK. Now let's measure the volume. Here volume is 888033 and in the answer it is given as 886973. So let's measure the difference. So our answer is 888033 divided by the given solution answer 886973. So the answer is 1. Even if you convert into percentage, it is even less than the 1% error. So our model is correct. In problem 4.49, we'll draw this shape in front plane. Then we'll offset by 2 mm and create this edge. And we'll remove this material. And from right plane, we're going to remove this material. But here we need to use two end condition for direction 1 and direction 2. Start new sketch on front plane. So I will use center point rectangle tool. I will assign these dimensions as given 24. I will use center point arc tool to create. And then we'll add the radius, which is 17. Now let's mirror this arc on opposite side. For that, let's create a center line. Or you can draw same arc again, no problem. Now this line must be of construction type. Now let's extrude. Here the depth is given 3. Now let's add the corner fillet, which is of 4. And use this selection toolbar to complete the selection of all 4 edges. Now select this. Let's offset. Let's convert first entity and offset it by selecting this chain by 2 mm in reverse direction. So let's cut the middle part. Select this region and the depth should be equal to 2 as given in detail section C. So let's start new sketch on right plane. Here we need to press Alt key and rotate the view. Now here we need to create like this shape. Okay. So let's draw a center line. So only we need to draw the half. So from here, I will go like this, and this, and I'll come back to the center. Okay. Now let's add the overall dimensions. So from here to here it is 1. So this line is of 1. Now let's rotate a little bit and let's align this with this. Okay. So select this, press bar and select this line and make them align. So we have a complete sketch like this. Now let's mirror those lines. Select this one, and this one, and right click and select the center line. So we have a complete shape. Okay. Now let's change the visual style. Let's press S key and select the cut feature. So on one direction we are going to have a through, and in second direction we are going to select up to surface, and for that we need to select this surface and right click. Now let's apply the fillet over here. So whose value is 0.5. Now let's measure the volume. Here volume is 976, which is a complete match with the solution answer. In problem 4.50, we are going to draw this section in front and we're going to extrude it. On the back side of this surface, we are going to complete this geometry. So start sketching on front. Draw the overall shape. And this is 16. Now let's extrude by 125. Now let's draw on this back surface remaining geometry. This is 90. This angle is 42. This is 12. And one more line is, let's make it perpendicular and draw over here. So this line and this line are perpendicular, and also the distance from here to here is 15. Let's draw circles. One over here, second over here, both having same diameter. Now let's add some distance between them. So from here to here it is given as 15. From here to here, chalice. And also the edge distance. And for that, I need to draw center line. I need to make parallel to this edge. And then I have to add the dimension, which is 20. Now let's extrude. First, I will use this region. And depth is given 36. Now let's use shape sketch, but this time I will use extrude cut. Now starting plane is this surface, and this is the requirement, and the blind depth cut is 11. Now let's add circle over here whose diameter is 12. From this edge it is located at 17, and from here to here it is located at 67. Now let's extrude cut, but the blind depth is given as 11. It is not through hole. Now let's measure the volume. So volume is 238,068, which is a complete match with the solution answer.